as a program. We used it to refresh our bodies a little bit, and we backed off a little bit on the amount of contact and some of the things we did from a practice standpoint. So hopefully we've got these guys as fresh as they can be right now going into this part of the stretch of the season, and I feel confident that we do. The way we practice, we also used it as a big evaluation week for us. We had a lot of guys on the road, in-state, out-of-state, high school, junior college, seeing guys through the weekend. So we used it as a staff to really kind of catch back up and reevaluate some of the guys that we've been in on and find some new ones. So from that point, I think both of those things are very beneficial for us as we go into this week. Looking at Hawaii, don't look at the record, don't believe it. All you got to do is flip on the tape. These guys play hard. I think it's a great testament to Coach Chow and their staff and the way their players play, the culture that he's creating there. I'm very impressed with that. I got a lot of respect for him in that area because these kids play hard. They play down to the wire. I looked at it a little bit yesterday and did some research. It's 52 that they've outscored their opponents 52-17 in the fourth quarter. That's unbelievable. And a lot of the times when you flip on the tape in the last few weeks, the teams that they've been playing have had their starters in. They've had their good guys in, and I think that's, again, goes back to show you how hard these guys play. Colorado State, they threw one in the end zone to tie it at the end, and it fell incomplete. So the last 4 weeks, from San Jose to Vegas, Fresno, and then Colorado State Saturday night, it's been 4 close games in the league. So I expect them to come in here and be very well prepared. I expect them to come in and play very, very hard, and we're going to have to match that intensity from our end, and I don't have any doubt that we will, and we'll be ready to play on Saturday. So it should be a good game in Romney, and we're looking forward to it. So go ahead and open it up for questions.
For your 4 Hawaii natives and then also the Polynesian connection, talk about what a game like this means for those guys.
I think it's, there's a lot of, again, cousins and high school rivalries, high school teammates playing against each other. And so I think it just creates a little bit of an added interest.
Anybody in particular you feel like the bye week helped physically on your team a lot? Any specific guy or two? Or?
That whole 2 deep you got sitting right there. Every one of them. I mean, when you go from training camp to 8 straight weeks, and a lot of those were very physical matches on both sides of the ball, I think we all needed it.
How much has Darrell's confidence grown from that first time he played to leading up to this week?
Yeah, a little bit, and then I'm sure hopefully we see a gradual increase in confidence and productivity as each week goes on.
You were saying you're going to scrimmage on Thursday. Did any young guys in particular stand out in that scrimmage on Thursday?
I saw some flashes of Tyshawn Mosley, an offensive lineman from Jordan High. I liked Austin Stevens, some of the things he did, the center. Rashard Hall flashed a little bit at me. Wickers and Weiss out at receiver, I saw some good stuff. I liked Myron Turner in the back end. Those guys stuck out the most.
Coach, I appreciate you coming down to Salt Lake City.
Absolutely.
I was wondering about your quarterback situation with the backup coming in and with the team outlook for the rest of the season. I look at your schedule here and I think to myself, man, it looks like they could end the season with 1 loss in conference play. And that would be a real accomplishment, in my opinion, with your quarterback going down. Will you talk about that situation a little bit?
Well, probably we can address that here in about 5 weeks if we can do what you just said. You're in a tunnel right now. We don't see anything else besides Hawaii. I hear what you're saying. I like the way our kids have responded to, back-to-back weeks of adversity, and with all the losses that we've had from a season-ending standpoint on offense. Injuries I'm talking about, losses and from an injury standpoint. So I like the way they've responded. I like the way all 3 sides played Saturday. We have to continue that. We have to play with a great deal of confidence, and hopefully I can answer that question a little bit better in 5 weeks. But our goal is to be 1-0 against Hawaii. That's the signs around the building, and that's all we're talking about right now is Hawaii this week.
Hawaii's pretty pass dependent as a team. Do you feel like your secondary has made the necessary strides to kind of get a little bit better?
Yeah, we'll
since
see.
State?
Yeah, we'll see. That'll be put to the test on Saturday. So we're going right from a really run-heavy team in New Mexico to a throw-it-every-down team in Hawaii. So that the jury's out on our back end. We'll see.
Why do you think it's been such a struggle for Coach Chow's Hawaii squad since he's been there?
I'm not sure. They play really hard, though. I know that. I'm sure they're close to getting this thing turned around, and we're going to have to play well this week to match their intensity. They play hard. They play really good. And you look at the scores lately, it's been close.
The shorter guy was their quarterback last year, I guess, and then they kind of didn't think he was going to be the quarterback this year. They thought the Graham guy, he got hurt. Since that Fresno game, I mean, he's put up huge numbers. He had a couple of problems with fumbles, it sounds like, this past week in the film. I just heard the press conference after, but they said he was still their quarterback. What do you see in him?
Well, I see a guy that I think he's accurate. He throws the ball well. They've played a few guys at quarterback. To me, it's still the scheme and what Coach Chow's going to do on offense, and that stuff hasn't really changed with the quarterbacks.
In terms of Nevin Lawson, kind of improving, especially in games against San Jose State and Boise State coming up with some interceptions, what have you seen out of him this season, his senior year?
Like I said, I think I said last week, Nevin's improved week in and week out. I think you saw his confidence grow from the SC game, from his performance in that game on that stage, and he's played well every week since then.
How have you had to adjust the offense with your quarterback switch that has been forced on you?
Not really, not much. We stayed pretty true to our system. Daryl's learned it. I mean, that's the only thing he knows, so to completely switch would be doing him an injustice. So we've stayed within the realms of what we do and how we do it, and try to play to his strengths a little bit better.
Just looking at their stats too, another challenge this week is the special teams, because they've had some long kickoff
Yeah, they have.
returns this year, quite a few of them,
Yeah,
with
it'll
different guys too.
Be another challenge for our kickoff team, and I tell you what, our kickoff team responded each week. They had a big challenge against New Mexico. This kid's, they do a nice job on kickoff return and punt return, and so both our coverage units will be put to the test this week.
You guys are in the top 40 in 12 national categories. What does that?
I didn't know that.
Highly ranked in most
Yeah.
categories. And then on NCAA.com, it's like twice as many, like 26 of 44 categories. You guys are in the top 40 nationally. What does that mean for you and the program?
I probably just confirmation that what we're doing is it's been productive when you look at it from a national scene, but honestly, we're 3-1 in the Mountain West. That's the only thing I look at right now, and I know we're right in the thick of the race. So, I see them, but we're 3-1, and right now with the things that we've gone through, we're going to find a way to win. Whether it's 3-2, the score that it was last week, or 49-48, it doesn't matter to us. But I think we'll take pride in that as we look at it from the end of the season. But I think it's maybe just a reflection on what we're doing compared to the rest of the country.
You're right to take pride in that 3-1 record in conference with all you've been through. How has play in the Mountain West Conference been different from play in your previous conference?
It's just way tougher. I mean, competition week in and week out is at a better level, and it's a higher level, and at top to bottom, from coaching staffs to programs to players. Again, I've said it a bunch of times, I think it's the best non-BCS conference in the country right now.
I looked at the second half of Hawaii's game. They were down 35-17, I think it was. They held Colorado State to less than 100 yards in the second half after they had like 300 and some in the first half. Did you see anything different they did defensively?
Tackled a little bit better and played a little bit better.
Because, they didn't let them run the ball. They didn't
I
let them pass the ball.
didn't see much schematic-wise.
Were you able to catch up on other opponents during the bye week here as far as film was concerned, or was all your focus just solely dedicated on Hawaii?
As far as film's concerned, Hawaii and recruits. It's the only two films I watched all week, and I did watch the Fresno San Diego State game in between, seeing the back of my eyelid, staying up late, But that's the only game I saw on TV in our league.
San Diego State played them right.
They played them real good. You know, that was close for Coach Long. I was, you know, obviously coached with him and then coached with Timmy DeRuiter, so I knew both guys on both sides. You got a lot of friends out there, but that was a great ball game down to the end.
When you're going into recruits' homes and talking to them, has being on TV more and being in the Mountain West helped you get into more?
It
get
will,
more
yeah,
conversation?
Craig, it will. You know, we'll see the effect on that a little bit more in December and January when you really do start talking to them, because we're not in their homes yet right now. But I think we've played well on TV, and we've got TV games coming up, and you got to, you know, like I said, you got to, just because you're on it doesn't mean it's going to help you. You got to play well and you got to win.
The Mountain West seems to have a little bit of parity with Colorado State having beaten Wyoming a couple weeks ago. A bunch of teams that are 4-4, 3-4, around that area. What does that mean for you guys the rest of the year as you face a conference?
Yeah, I'm not sure it really means a whole lot, except that, you know, you got quality opponents coming up. You know, we'll focus on each one each week. And I said that in Vegas in the preseason. I said I thought there was a lot of parity top to bottom, and it's proved out that way. And so crazier things that happened. You know, I told the kids last night in the team meeting, I said, you know, you're sitting at 3-1 right now. I gave them the big picture, and I gave them the very, very narrow focus, which was Hawaii only, is what we're thinking about right now, and it's how about what we do and how we do it. But in reality, we just keep winning, and you find a way to win each one. You're going to look up, and you're going to be in the middle of the race in November. And that's what I've said since last January. All you want to do is continue to build programs and create the culture around your program that you're going to be in the, you know, you're going to be in the hunt in November. So the next step for us is Hawaii, and we're going to play really well on Saturday to stay in the hunt.
How is Chucky doing following his surgery?
He's good. Not real mobile yet,
Some of
but
the
moving around.
some of the seniors, you know, DJ and Kyle, are they kind of now starting to focus on their professional options and some of the things that, were they still kind of staying with the team day to day and coaching?
No, they're with us. No, they're with us.
You mentioned keeping your guys focused on Hawaii. I got to admit, you're having a tough time keeping me focused on Hawaii when I
Well,
look
let's
at their
go.
record.
Lock in.
I'm trying to lock in, Coach, but I'm looking
Okay.
forward to some of these games on your schedule. How hard is it to keep your guys focused when they've got an 0-7 team rolling in?
Flip on the tape. They flip it on and they see how hard they play, and defense has got something coming at them completely different from their offensive standpoint. You know, and I know they're going to play a lot of man coverage, so it's a little bit different for us on offense. So you know, our guys are, you know, I told them last night, you got Hawaii and you got school. Reduce the drama in your life, get the other stuff out of your life, and all you got, it's not real hard. You got two things. You got college, go to class, and you got Hawaii. End of story. Figure something else out at 5:30 on Saturday. So
You're taking all the fun out of being a college football player in that.
not when
case.
you're in the midst of a race. You're in the midst of a championship hunt, and you gotta win this week. It's a one game. We won't be talking about this in 2 weeks when I come back down here, if you're looking ahead. So it's Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, period.
Anybody in this program that you coached, or I mean, rather recruited, or we're looking at?
At Hawaii,
Yeah, at Hawaii.
Coach Jeremy Higgins for a semester.
He's now listed as kind of their fourth quarterback,
Yeah.
I guess, sounds like.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I really, Kyle, I haven't studied the roster completely. I'm sure there's a couple guys that we probably recruited, but you know, Coach Jeremy for first semester I was here, spring of 11. Yeah.
You just mentioned they play a lot of man. Do they take a lot of chances to try, because they're huge on tackles for losses, their defense. Do they take a lot of chances? They blitzing? Do they go after you?
They pressure. They got a good little pressure package, and they play some man coverage behind it, and do a nice job getting you in some one-on-ones. And you know, you miss a block here and there, and you're getting pressured up. Then you know there are going to be some TFLs.
As being an offensive guy, is it kind of interesting, or just does it mean anything to you to go against Norm Chow and kind of a guy who's accomplished what he's accomplished in the football world?
I don't know. I hadn't really even thought about that. I got a lot of respect for Coach Chow, and he's accomplished a tremendous amount. You know, and as being a quarterback guy, then I have probably have added respect to him for what he's done with quarterbacks, on the college level and at the pro level. And, you coach some Heisman Trophy winners. I mean, that's a pretty neat deal. They'll never take that away from him. So I had a good visit with him in Vegas and about coaching quarterbacks, and I do have a lot of respect for him and for what he's done with a lot of quarterbacks over the years.
What's his offensive game film look like these days? Is he still the pro-style quarterback guy, or what's he done with his offensive game?
Yeah, they're throwing it all over the lot. They multiple formations, multiple personnel groups, and different types of quick game drop back, play action, and a little bit of everything.
Up tempo?
Not as much.
It's been the big pass plays, they said, that's made the difference the last couple of weeks. They've got more bigger pass, up the field pass
Yeah,
plays.
yeah, they've made
Gann
some.
guy, I guess.
Made
is
some,
pretty
yeah, Gann has made some plays, and you throw the ball upfield, and just like I'm sure he thinks about, just like I do. You throw a ball vertical, and there's 3 things that can happen, and 2 of them really good. You got a completion for an explosive, you got a pass interference, or you got an incomplete pass. So that one's not real good, but you sent a message. So I think when you throw balls vertical, I think there's a lot of good things that can happen from an offensive perspective.
Talking to a lot of your senior players, they point out the last time you played Hawaii is kind of that springboard to where the program was now. That's where things really changed. You were at that game. Can you talk a little bit about your memories of that game and maybe the change you saw in the team moving forward from that point?
Good question, Matt. A lot of memories from that night. I remember, your first memory is Chucky getting hurt and laying there and being down 28-7, if I'm not mistaken. We didn't have a thing going for us, and I remember some good locker room cohesiveness going on, and coming out, and Adam just let it, we let him sling it, and he let it rip, and he threw some balls that shouldn't have been thrown, and I think I had my eyes covered half the time in the press box, and they made it through double coverage, and Stanley popped out once, and Chuck Jacobs got one, and Turb got busted loose on an ISO play, and I think it was a springboard for us, over the last 2 years, and a lot of people do point to that game. It's hard to win over there, and to do it in the fashion that we did it was huge. Not only just for the program, but for our confidence from an individual standpoint. A lot of individuals gained confidence in that. We made some plays on defense. We had a fake punt. A lot of things went right that night in the second half. So, yeah, I remember that night very vividly. It was a good night to be an Aggie.
Do you have a feeling like, oh, it's about time because of, things the program had gone in the past and had those losing seasons, and then everything came together against Hawaii and the rest of the year?
Yeah, not so much that, but I think, the culture that Coach Anderson had been building and continuing to recruit, we knew we were close. You get that confidence when you play that well against Auburn that year. But, you had 2 setbacks against La Tech and Fresno, and you have that win on the road. And then it was like we were the cardiac kids that year. Because it's not like we just went on a 5-game run and drilled everybody. We were throwing balls in the end zone to win games. New Mexico State was a fade ball for a touch. San Jose, we threw a fade ball for a touch to Matt Austin to win it. There were some close games. Nevada, we had to go on a 38-minute drive at the end to run the clock out. I just remember some close games down to the wire that year, but that game propelled us from a confidence standpoint.
Anything else for Coach Wells?